Let us derive one-dimensional wave and heat equations. Derivation of one-dimensional wave equation. Consider a flexible string tightly stretched between two fixed points at a distance L apart. Suppose these are two fixed points. Take one string. So one string is attached between two fixed points which are at a distance L apart. Distance from here to here is L. Let rho be the mass per unit length of the string. So we have rho here. We shall assume the following. We have some few assumptions. Let us see what are those. First assumption is the tension T of the string is same throughout. If you give some tension here, if you disturb the string, it starts vibrating. Because of tension in that string. So first assumption is the tension T of the string is same throughout. Tension will be same. The effect of gravity can be ignored due to large tension. So we can ignore the gravity due to large tension. So gravity will be negligible as compared to the tension in the string. The motion of the string is in small transverse vibrations. So this is the third observation or assumption. Small transverse vibrations. If you disturb the string, what happens? This starts oscillating like this. With small transverse vibrations. Let us consider the forces acting on a small element AB of length dx. So we are going to take a small part. Let us consider only this part of the wave. This is the wave. This is the wave. Let us consider only small part. Here we have considered only the small part of the string, and in this small part let us consider only small element from here to here. Call this as A and call this as B. So that is what we are saying here. Let us consider the forces acting on a small element. Let us consider the forces acting on a small element AB of length dx. So this is the length delta x. Let us consider that as delta x. So this tension is acting in this direction here. At the point A, tension is in the downward. Let us call that tension as T1. And the other tension at the point B is in this direction. Let us call that as T2. If you draw the horizontal, then this tension makes the angle alpha. If you draw the horizontal at this point, then we get an angle beta between the tension T2 and the horizontal. So this is the pictorial representation of the situation. Let T1 and T2 be the tensions at the point A and B as shown in the figure. T1 is the tension at the point A and T2 is the tension at the point B. Since there is no motion in the horizontal direction, the horizontal components T1 and T2 must cancel each other. See, vibrations are only along the y-axis. See, vibrations are along the only y-axis. It won't move along the x direction. That is, there is no motion along the horizontal. So the horizontal components of the tension must cancel each other. That means the tension should be, the horizontal components of the tension should be same. Then only it gets cancelled. So the horizontal component of the tensions are this and this, both are equal. Let us call this as capital T, where alpha and beta are the angles made by T1 and T2 with horizontal. We have already seen in the diagram here. Vertical components. See, these are the horizontal components which are same. What about vertical components? Vertical components of the tension are, one vertical component is minus T1 sin alpha, and the other vertical component is T2 sin beta. Where this negative sign is used because T1 is directed downward. Hence, the resultant force acting vertically upwards is, if you add these two, if you take the sum of these two, what you get is the resultant force, which is nothing but this minus this. We have added these two like this. So this is the resultant force. Applying Newton's second law of motion, what we have, force is equal to mass into acceleration. What is force? Force is this. Let us substitute in this place. We have taken is equal to mass. Mass is nothing but rho into dx. Density into delta x. Acceleration. What is acceleration? Double derivative. Acceleration is double derivative dou square u by dou t square. Dividing throughout by capital T. Let us divide both sides by capital T. What we have, T2 by T minus T1 by T is equal to, here, rho by T delta x into this. So we have divided throughout by capital T. Now we are going to use this equation number 1 to get the value of T2 by T. What is T2 by T? If you take this T here and send this cos beta there, what you get? T2 by T is equal to 1 by cos beta. And similarly we can find what is T1 by T. That is what we are going to see in the next step. Let me take this in the next step. Yeah, we have taken. What is T2 by T? T1 by T. What is T1 by T? T1 by T is 1 by cos alpha. T1 by T is 1 by cos alpha. If you take this T here, you will get T here. If you shift this here, you will get 1 by cos alpha. So T1 by T is 1 by cos alpha, and similarly, if you simplify this too, what you get is T2 by T is equal to 1 by cos beta. So in this place, in this equation, I can put T2 by T as 1 by cos alpha here. That is divided by cos beta you will get. Divided by cos beta you will get. In the place of T1 by T, you can put divided by cos alpha. That is what we are going to have now. Here, sin beta by cos beta minus sin alpha by cos alpha is equal to rho by T delta x, and that. We know what is sin by cos. Sin by cos is tan. So this becomes tan beta minus tan alpha is equal to this. But what is tan beta? What this tan represents? Tan represents the slope. Right? Slope at the point B. This is the slope at the point B, and this is the slope at the point A. This is the slope at the point B. This is the slope at the point A. But tan beta and tan alpha represent the slope at the point B and A respectively. What is tan beta? Slope means derivative. Slope means dou u by dou x at B. Where is B? B is at x plus delta x, and where is A at x? So tan alpha is dou u by dou x at A. A is at x. So I can replace in the place of tan beta and tan alpha these two. Now equation 2 becomes here. This equation I have rewritten. This is your equation number 2. In this place slope, in this place slope. Right. So what we do is we apply the operation dividing by delta x. We are going to divide both sides by delta x. After dividing, what you get? You'll get delta x here. If you divide delta x here, delta x will get cancelled. And then after dividing by delta x, we take limit as delta x is tending to 0. See? We have divided by delta x and delta x got cancelled. Now what we do? Take the limit. Let us take the limit. Limit as delta x is tending to 0. See, what is this? This is the definition of a derivative. This is the definition of a derivative which gives derivative of, this is the change in, what is this? Change in dou u by dou x. This is change in dou u by dou x. How do we represent change in dou u by dou x? Dou square u by dou x square. So this means or in other words you can say this has the derivative of dou u by dou x. This has derivative of dou u by dou x. There is nothing but derivative of dou u by dou x with respect to x, right? Therefore, derivative of dou u by dou x. What is this? Derivative of dou u by dou x. Derivative of dou u by dou x means dou square u by dou x square, which is this. Now we can write in short form u xx, u suffix xx, or let us rewrite first. Dou square u by dou t square is equal to, if you take this to the other side, it gets reciprocal. What you get? Oh, t by rho. T by rho into dou square u by dou x square you will get. Now we can write this in the short form. Before that, let us call this as c square. We are going to replace this by c square. Yes, we have replaced. Now we can write this as the utt, and we can write this as the uxx, double derivative of u with respect to x. So this is the wave equation in one dimension. So this completes the derivation. Let us derive one-dimensional heat equation. Let us consider a homogeneous bar of constant cross-sectional area. Constant cross-sectional area A. Let us consider area of the cross section as A. Let rho be the density. Let rho be the density. Small s be the specific heat. K be the thermal conductivity of the material. Let the sides be insulated. Let the sides be insulated so that the streamlines of heat flow are parallel and perpendicular to the area A, let one end of the bar be taken as the origin. Let one end of the bar be taken as the origin O, and the direction of heat flow be positive x-axis. Direction of heat flow, see, direction of heat flow will be along the positive x-axis. Let U is equal to U of x comma t. That means U is the temperature. This U depends on x and t. U depends on x and time taken. X and time taken. X and time taken with the temperature of the slab at a distance x from the origin. Consider an element of bar between the planes. Now we are going to consider only an element between this plane and this plane. See, we have considered this plane and this plane, so we got one element here. Consider an element between these planes PQ, RS and P dash, Q dash, R dash, S dash at a distance x and delta x. That means from here to here it is x. From here to here it is x plus delta x. X plus delta x. From the end O, let delta U be the change in temperature. Let us consider delta U as the change in temperature. Change in temperature in a slab of thickness delta x. In a slab of thickness delta x. So this is the change in temperature of the bar. The mass of the element, if you take mass of this element, what will be this? Mass of the element will be area A into rho into dx, delta x. A rho delta x is the mass of this element. The quantity of heat stored in this slab, will be A rho S delta x delta U. This you should remember. Hence, rate of increase of heat in this slab element is rate of increase. We want the rate of increase. So how do we find? We just we consider here divided by delta T. This will give a rate of increase. Here R is equal to A rho S delta x dou U by dou T. Call it as equation number 1. If Ri is the rate of inflow of heat, and Rho is the rate of outflow of the heat, we have Ri is equal to minus Ka dou U by dou x at x, and Rho rate of outflow minus Ka dou U by dou x at x plus delta x. So call this as equation number 2. Hence from 1 and 2, what we have is, we can say rate R is equal to Ri minus Ro. Rate of inflow minus rate of outflow will give rate of increase in heat. So let us substitute in the place of R its value. In the place of Ri, this and in the place of Rho, this, right? So what happens? This minus and this minus will get plus. Will get plus. If you subtract this minus this minus this, minus into minus plus. So let us write down this plus quantity first. Let us write down this plus quantity first, then this minus quantity next. Now what happens here? Write down this dou u by dou t as it is and shift everything to the other side. Let us see what happens. First of all, this a and this a will get cancelled. What you get? K divided by rho s. K divided by rho s. We write this delta x whole divided by delta x here. That is what we have written here, whole divided by delta x. Call this as equation number 3. Taking limit as delta x tending to 0, let us take a limit here. Limit as delta x tending to 0. Here it is independent of delta x, so we cannot take. Only delta x is here, so let us take the limit in the RHS. One more thing, further denoting this as c square, let us do two things at once. If you apply limit and consider this as c square, which is called as diffusivity of the substance, if you apply limit here, this becomes the derivative. This becomes the derivative of dou u by dou x with respect to x. So what do we mean by derivative of dou u by dou x? Derivative of dou u by dou x. That means dou square u by dou x square you will get in this place. After applying the limit, you will get this in this place, and this will be c square. Let us see here, c square dou square u by dou x square we got. Or in short, we can write ut is equal to c square uxx. This is the one-dimensional heat equation. We have derived one-dimensional heat equation.